Good morning. This is Kathleen Clough at Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, August 7th, 2025. The fire potential impacts across the next few days include gusty winds between 35 and 45 miles per hour and low RH across southeastern Nevada, most of Utah, and the Arizona Strip today, with an additional area of 25 to 35 mile per hour winds to the west of that. Minimum relative humidities will be between 8 and 20% across these high wind areas. And additionally, northern central Idaho will see some mixed wet and dry storms with the wettest storms to the north. On Friday, the high wind risk persists across the southeastern tip of Nevada, the Arizona Strip, the eastern half of Utah, and eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, with the additional chance for some mixed storms and lightning across western Wyoming and northeastern Utah, but the biggest concern there being wind. On Saturday, that wind risk diminishes to just the Arizona Strip and southern Utah, and there are no other concerns across the basin on Saturday. Radar estimates from the past 24 hours show some possibly light precip across portions of northern central Idaho, with the rest of the basin remaining dry. Satellite loop from yesterday afternoon into the evening shows a heavier band of smoke and clouds moving east across Nevada and Idaho, as well as across central Utah, which may have provided some brief cloud cover over our established fires. In the past 24 hours, the Great Basin had 10 new starts for a total of 94 acres and a large fire growth of 7,094 acres. The past 3 days show the highest precipitation amounts across portions of central Idaho. These areas received at least 1/100 of an inch with sparse pockets of up to 1 inch, while the rest of the basin remained completely dry. During the last 30 days, precipitation has remained well below normal for most of the Great Basin, except for northwestern Nevada and some sparse pockets in central Idaho. ERC values remain between 50 and 75% across western Idaho and the Sierra Front from recent precipitation and higher RH, but are back on the rise. ERC values across eastern Nevada, Utah, eastern central Idaho, and western Wyoming remain extremely high, above 97%, and are on the rise across northeastern Utah and portions of central Idaho. Satellite from this morning shows a mix of smoke and clouds with quite a bit of coverage across central Idaho and central Utah. Quite a bit of smoke coverage is expected across the basin today. The heaviest impacts for today will occur over the Nevada-Idaho border and into central Idaho due to those northern Nevada fires, as well as the eastern half of Nevada from that large Southern California wildfire. This smoke from California will travel into Utah as well and combine with smoke from the Monroe Canyon and Dragon Bravo fires, where we will see the most significant smoke impact. A similar pattern occurs again tomorrow, but we will see less overall coverage, especially across Nevada and Idaho. Today, we've issued high risk for wind across central Nevada and to the east across Arizona Strip, Utah, eastern central Idaho, and western Wyoming. The Sierra Front remains at low risk due to higher RH, and northern central Idaho at little or no risk due to the rain potential today, which you can see in the green and black up north there in Idaho. Here in the convective outlook, you can see that marginal area outlined with the T-storm risk across central Idaho, where we've marked in our 3-day we expect to see some wet and dry storms. On the right, you can see we expect at least 1/10 of an inch of rain across most of that area, with pockets up north of up to a 1/2 inch. The biggest concern today, of course, is that area of high winds between 35 and 45 miles per hour across southeastern Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip. Minimum relative humidity still remain critical and in the single digits between 4 and 7% across much of southern Nevada, and then the low double digits across Utah, where we're going to see those high winds. So overall, big risk today is those high winds and lower RHs. You can see we got higher RH up in Idaho, of course, from that precip. On Friday, we've marked a continued risk for wind across the Arizona Strip and southern eastern Utah, as well as western Wyoming. The rest of the basin remains at moderate risk. You can just kind of see, those breezy, dry conditions persisting across that area tomorrow as well. No precipitation is expected within the basin on Friday, maybe a slight marginal chance for some scattered things, which we talked about across western Wyoming and that kind of northeastern corner of Utah. But a little cooler Friday with max temperatures between the high 70s to high 80s for the northern half of the basin and in the low to mid 90s and a few triple digits in the usual areas across southern Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip. That wind concern persists into Friday but decreases in coverage to just southeastern Nevada, southern Utah, the Arizona Strip, and western Wyoming, where we expect to still see those 25 to 35 mile per hour gusts. Minimum relative humidity still remain critical and in the single digits between 5 and 10% across those gusty wind areas in the southern half of the basin and in the teens to low 20s where we've been having our rain in the northern half of the basin. On Saturday, the high risk for wind persists over the Arizona Strip and portions of southern Utah. Things begin to dry out across the rest of the basin, with the Sierra front moving from low risk to moderate risk due to those dry conditions. And then central Idaho still remaining kind of in that low risk area from past precip, and also just some moister air over that region. We'll be dry again on Saturday with no chance of precipitation, and max temperatures will be between the high 70s to low 90s for the northern half of the basin, and in the mid 90s, even triple digits across southern Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip. That wind concern persists in a Saturday across the Arizona Strip and southern Utah, where you can see those areas of pink and orange, where we expect gusts between 25 and 35 miles per hour. Minimum relative humidity still remain critical and in the single digits to low teens across those gusty wind areas on the southern edge of the basin, and in the low teens to low 20s where we've been having our rain and kind of moisture air in the northern half of the basin. The next 3 days of precipitation shows most of our precip across western and northern central Idaho, with a few hundredths of an inch expected across western Wyoming and that kind of small little pocket on the Wyoming Utah border, and up to a quarter an inch of rain across portions of central Idaho where we expect our heavier storms. The rest of the basin will remain dry with no precipitation over our large fires. On Sunday, conditions continue to dry out, causing most of the basin to move or remain at that moderate risk, except northern central Idaho, which has moved to low risk. But you can just see that dry air over the basin again on Sunday. On Monday, most of the basin is still going to remain on that moderate risk, except for northern central Idaho. Due to that continued kind of drying pattern, you can see here that dry air across most of the basin on Monday. On Tuesday, again, no high risk triggers for us. Most of the basin remains at that moderate risk and under that dry air mass. Low risk still in northern central Idaho due to the continued chance for maybe some spotty precip, but just overall higher RH up there. On Wednesday, that similar pattern persists where we've just got that massive dry air over the basin, and most of the basin will remain at that moderate risk category, except for, of course, northern central Idaho, which is going to have a little bit higher RH, but overall similar conditions for those days. The next 7 days of precipitation show at least a few hundredths of an inch up to a tenth of an inch of rain across portions of northern and eastern central Idaho and western Wyoming, with the rest of the basin remaining completely dry. The next 8 to 14 days show the chance for above normal temperatures across most of the basin, except southwestern Nevada and northern central Idaho, which are expected to have near normal temperatures. And the precipitation outlook shows near normal precip across the entire basin, except for a portion of northwestern Nevada and southwestern Idaho, which will be below normal precipitation. That concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.